Hello and good evening. July 30th, 2017. Sunday News Weekly Recap. Well, one thing you can definitely say, it has been another strange week. I don't know about you, but it seems to me that the weeks are getting, well, shall we say, a little more interesting, right? So, our stories tonight are going to cover from space to spaced out. So, let's get right into it. Okay, starting with our first story tonight. Hubble Space Telescope. What you're seeing right here is, this is a dwarf galaxy, and this is the big galaxy, right? Well, these two are headed for a collision. And this story goes on to say how Hubble has caught this. And you know, what I really find interesting about this story, when you think about space, right? I mean, it's vast. I mean, when you think about a light year, roughly 6 trillion miles, right? And then you think that galaxies collide. And it happens much more than what you would think. In fact, I found it very interesting to know that the Milky Way right now is in the process of pulling in the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. So this is why I found this story relevant. You can check it out for yourself, because when you look at it and you think that our galaxy right now is in the process of assimilating another galaxy coming in, pretty strange. Might answer why we may have so much stuff up there, right? Okay, our next story is here. Wow, what a coincidence. So, asteroid flyby will benefit NASA Detection and Tracking Network. Now, the interesting story about this is this. We have this asteroid, which will be coming by Earth, going to miss it, but it's going to be close. And again, this one we're tracking. The others, we don't. And as you know, we've covered in the past going to the Near Earth Object website, and you can certainly see that. So again, folks, you know, take it for what it is, but it's getting mighty, mighty, mighty crowded out there. How about you? For 2017, are you going to go and see the eclipse? If you live in the United States, need to do it. Just got back. We've already picked our spot. It is out in the middle of nowhere. But hopefully you can do this. I think it's going to be a phenomenal sight. Where we're going to be at, the totality will last for 2 minutes and I think 27 seconds. That's really a great time. We'll be out there filming it. We are going to see if we can actually set up to do a live remote for those of you who can't see it. And let's hope for clear skies, right? So check it out. If you can, mark your calendar. By the way, if you think about getting a hotel room anywhere near the path of totality, not going to happen. All right, I found this one really interesting. It's from Scientific American. And if you have read anything at all about low birth rates, Japan is in a crisis, has been. Their population is decreasing. I've read numerous stories about how this generation coming up right now They don't seem to be interested in sex, and so this has a problem because, if your country doesn't produce more births than deaths, that is the death, right, of your country. So I found this one really interesting, and it's not just that also the low sperm count, but it's the low motility. Apparently, the younger men, their little guys, are wimps, and they kind of just don't have any stamina, so to speak. So something to keep aware of. By the way, the phenomenon about this is that the more technically advanced a country is, the worse the problem. Correlation? Don't know. All right, here's one. So I remember the push back about 8 years ago. So when it started, was accelerated about 5 years ago for everyone to change out their light bulbs, right? To get rid of the incandescent light bulbs that we had and put them in with this. Well, here we go again, which is so common for our species. We really think that we have an answer, and so we take data, empirical data that comes in, particularly the data that we like, that validates our POV, point of view, and boom, it gets pushed through. Well, now it turns out not only are these bulbs more toxic, but apparently now they can also give you headaches. How about that? Yikes. All right. Now this one just grossed me out. I'm serious. Grossed me out. Don't think I'm ever going to eat chicken wings again. I don't even. But then again, it's that old adage. Well, what did it taste like? I like chicken. Anyway, here's the deal, folks. Apparently here in America, we grow Frankenstein chickens. Franken chickens is what they call them. They're so big, artificially, by the hormones and God knows what else, the flesh rots as the bird is still alive because it can't move. And it's so big, it wouldn't have the ability to move. So if you're eating chicken wings, I'm sorry about the timeliness of this story, but there you go. I mean, come on, folks. The old adage, you are what you eat, right? Yeah. All right. We'll move on with this one, but it's, again, when we, humankind, begin to jack with other species' genes, this is what turns out. And by the way, that analogy could carry forth in what we're doing to manipulate our genes. Yeah. Okay. Moving right on along. So things are getting a little weird out there, folks. I mean, really weird. So because apparently we voted sanctions on Russia, I guess in retaliation for what, I'm not sure. It's tit for tat. And, anytime you start expelling diplomats from one country to the other, yeah, that can be a slippery slope. And hopefully we can ratchet down the tensions about, let's say, 99%, please. Anyway, moving on along. Yeah. All right, so let's take a listen and let's take a watch.
A show of U.S. force in Korean skies. Two B-1 bombers flying over the Korean peninsula on Saturday, just one day after the North's latest ballistic missile test. The U.S. has used similar tactics in the past in response to Pyongyang's aggressions, but a particular sense of urgency after North Korea's late-night launch on Friday. Experts indicating the North's missile range has increased since its first launch earlier this month. They say the weapon could now potentially hit Los Angeles and even Chicago. U.S. President Donald Trump turning to China in his frustration in a pair of tweets, saying he's very disappointed in the country and that it had done nothing for the U.S. when it comes to North Korea. The reclusive state's main ally says it opposes the missile launches and hopes all parties act with caution to prevent tensions from escalating. But U.S. Air Force officials are preparing for the worst, saying their troops are ready to respond with rapid...
Okay, I think you can get the point. You know, you can't use the comparison of big boys with fancy toys. These are killing machines, and I don't like seeing any one of the B-1 or B-2 bombers, and I'm sure that the other one's lurking by too. But what's going on here? As I said before, you just got to be aware. The chessboard is changing quickly, and folks, we live in a world that we are as connected as you could literally be, and I don't like it. Listen, I remember growing up with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, I was very young. I was 5 years old. But we had a bomb shelter. And that was just the way it was. We practiced in school, duck, cover, right? And did that very regularly. I remember there was a point where I lived with my grandparents because my dad was in the Air Force, that he was very concerned. And so was the neighborhood. So it's kind of pulls up for me memories of the past. But something you need to be aware of, folks. This week will be interesting. You know, this is where 60 Seconds for Humanity. Let's just start doing a little. If you're listening to this, you'll be a core group, right? So hopefully you've stayed and you're watching it. And let's do something. Let's do something tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon, wherever you are. And let's think the thought of harmony, ratcheting it down. We can meditate on that for a minute. Just the thought of ratcheting down tensions, right? And let's see if we can connect into this collective consciousness. Because at this point, folks, I'm willing to do and try anything other than seeing bright candlesticks going off in our atmosphere. It's reality, folks. All right, let's move right on along. Yeah, I wanted to say that, you know, this one just bothers me. I mean, I don't get it. I understand and respect people's cultures, but how do you deal with this? This doesn't make sense, and I wanted to bring it out as just a protest that a culture would be so backwards. I'll just lay it out there. All right, how about this one? Can anyone say, are you surprised? Too much sugar can increase depression risk in men, studies suggest. Well, let's see. The fact that, you know, it floods the brains with artificial endorphins, and then it shuts down the pancreas, and oh yeah, it may lead to diabetes, which will then lead to heart disease. Yeah, I could see where this one make you depressed. But in light of the last story I did, right? I mean, I'm going to go out and have a donut. because it doesn't make me depressed. It makes me happy. So anyway, there you go. And oh, by the way, coming to your locality soon, there will be that sugar tax. If it isn't already there, there will be one. Okay, let's move on right on along. Yes, you did notice that. Steroids, this is from the Telegraph, sees fourfold increase. Data shows fueled by rise in muscle-conscious young men. I wonder if the low motility rate of the sperm count would have anything to do with this. And with the rest of the hormones and stuff that they put into the food and processed food. I'm just saying. Come on, guys. Listen. A woman will love you for what's inside of you. If she is, listen, we all go through the phase. So it's just what it is. But I have found at my point in life that women look for a little something more than just bronze, guys. Character, integrity. There we go. All right, here we go. Here's one. California has too much pot. Says growers won't be able to export the surplus. Wow. High times in California. So I just thought this was real interesting because I covered a story about in Las Vegas where they legalized it and they have a pot shortage. Now, you would think that maybe if you have a commodity where one side wants the commodity and willing to pay, the other side has the commodity and willing to sell, I don't know. What's so complicated? Don't get it. Listen, I did a story, a complete video on the skimmers that we're finding now in ATM machines. And folks, you really need to be aware of when you get gas that this and these new skimmer devices here are tagging on to exactly what I had spoken about at the ATM machines and transmitting the data via Wi-Fi. And it's, again, take a minute before you slide your credit or debit card in. Just feel around the edges, take a look at it, see if it hasn't been tampered with before you actually put your card in there. And listen, a lot of the oil companies, they're aware of this. It's just that you've got these people that are good. They basically can actually rush what we would call around a gas terminal like they're having fun and, you know, just messing around, right? In the meantime, you got one of the guys that is very good at putting in the skimming devices. All right, let's just move on along. This is getting weird, folks. There is already a company in the United States that is a sex robotic brothel. And the response has been so overwhelming, they're going to franchise. I kid you not. And again, this comes from the Japanese, that maybe this is why they're low birth rate. Something's going on, folks, and this is getting weird. And when you start integrating, well, I'll hold my words on that. The brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is simulated. I'll just leave it at that. All right. This is to my vet friends out there. Listen, we're not going to give up on this. There is a bias and a stigma within the Veterans Administration where the evidence is becoming more and more increasing that if you have opiates or you have cannabis, which is the body more able to handle and to process the pain reduction? Well, the natural answer is cannabis. It is a natural pain reliever. And in fact, it has far fewer side effects than the opioids. So we're not going to give up on this. I think that, again, as we get smarter congressmen into, and as, the populace, if the guys get off your butts and don't buy this crap of party line, but look at the individual. What we need, folks, are statesmen, not politicians. We ought to kick every damn politician out, vote them out of office this next go around in Congress, and actually put statesmen. But the problem is we don't know what statesmen are anymore, because every politician that is elected is on the take. Oh, you think any politician hearing this want to debate me? Bring it on. I'll give you a full open platform. But folks, we both know what the deal is. They never will. All right, moving right on along. Here we go. Folks, when you begin to study consciousness, and I have many, many programs that I'm going to be doing on this, that I don't know if I have to, number one, as I read the article and how they define imagination, I'm not quite on board with. However, they are well on their way of doing this. And when we begin to talk about the definition of what sentient beings are, and we call this artificial intelligence, but in many cases, you could say that humans could be defined as artificial intelligence. We got it from somewhere, right? Think about it. All right. I don't know about you, but all I have to say is, what the hell are they thinking? Right? There is so much debate on this. Steve Olson and I did the interview with Dan Wellington. Now you got competing universities, ones who are going to use water and ones that are going to use chemical aerosols to cool the planet. Now we know the climate data is skewed. We know the models that they use to produce the climate data is skewed. We have caught them already skewing the data, and it's unreliable. So here's the problem. If we can't rely on the data, and we have to go to other sources that are showing maybe it's not global warming we need to be so much aware or be concerned about, it may be global cooling. And you don't hear the debate with climate changers in taking in two critical factors. Factor number one, the sun. Hey guys, I think that would have the greatest influence even over what man can do. The second is you don't hear any of the climate, let's call them alarmist, ever discussing, well, what about potentially a pole shift? Could that be a factor? You don't see it in the models. And that's the problem with the models. They failed to even factor in a probability either one. So this is really a train wreck looking to happen. All right, moving right on along. Yeah, I just did this story. This is another one. And when I start seeing these stories grouping together, right, coming from multiple different news outlets, I'm going, whoa, 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 wait a minute. What's going on here? So be aware, folks. Just be aware. It's out there. Now, talking about sex, this article was really pretty cool because they're finding now, because of the Human Genome Project, that apparently somewhere in our past, seems like our relatives were getting pretty frisky with what they call the ghost species. Now, this is freaky, folks. I mean, it's got all sorts of weird implications. So check it out. I'll leave the link. I know there's a lot of them. By the way, we got to check this one out. This is the new rocket engine, and I want you to check this out.
Mega rocket passes its third engine firing test. A new computer system helps robots read body language, and Amazon challenges roboticists to build a warehouse robot with dexterous hands. I'm Allison Berman, and here's what's happening in science and technology this week. Check out this new augmented reality headset called Prism. It's priced at just $99, and it could give Microsoft's costly HoloLens a run for its money. Unlike virtual reality, this augmented reality headset lets you merge real and virtual worlds. The device projects 3D images off of a transparent display from your iPhone. Okay, all you space geeks, this is really exciting. This week, NASA's RS-25 rocket engine successfully passed its third firing test. The RS-25 will power NASA's newest mega rocket, the Space Launch System, with 4 engines firing at once and creating a thrust of 2 million pounds. This high-tech body tracking software system is helping robots understand body language and emotions behind them. The system, called OpenPose, uses computer vision technology to track movements in your face, hand, torso, and even in individual fingers, and it's all in real time. Without needing any special remotes or gloves, the OpenPose system could be pivotal in making human-machine interaction more seamless and intuitive. Elon Musk's transportation startup just released this video showing a test of their car elevator. The Boring Company, and yes, that is their name, is planning to build underground tunnels to take people and their cars to major US cities, and to skip inevitable traffic. It's a fascinating idea, but we'll have to see whether city planning commissions are ready for Musk's visionary mind. Amazon's warehouses are packed with robots, about 45,000 of them in fact. But they all lack one really important thing, and that's having hands. Next week, the 3rd annual Amazon Robotics Challenge kicks off in Japan, where teams will be competing to create a robot that's able to mirror real-life warehouse tasks, including picking up a variety of objects in small spaces. That's what's happening this week.
So as you can see, things are a-changing. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. I know this one was a little long, but just a lot of stuff going on. And the reason why I enjoy doing these recaps is that I hope to give you this kind of, the 60,000-foot view of all the crazy things our species is doing. All right. Be kind to one another. We'll talk soon.